Hello. If you clicked onto this video, you're probably like me and were wondering how long it would take for someone to actually achieve the leaderboard, so I went ahead and did some basic math. Now, I didn't go ahead and record like 10 rounds or anything else like that and, record the exact times. I have limited recording space and figured it'd just be easier to do a recording like this. I went ahead and figured out that in order to get to top 10, so not number 1 position on the wins leaderboard specifically, it would take someone roughly 513 hours. How I figured out this math was that I guessed that it would take 3 minutes per round, and that you would have a 60% win-to-loss ratio, because assuming you would win 100% of the time is completely unrealistic, and no one can. The absolute highest I've seen so far was from Fuzzy at 75% win-loss ratio, or winning 75 rounds out of 100, which that in of itself is kind of nuts as is. So you would have to play 500 hours, and, how long would that take over the course of a year, let's say? If you were to play every single day for the year, which is unlikely, but hey, if you do it, good job for you, you would have to spend an hour and about 25 minutes per day just playing Skywars. Now, bearing in mind that losses and such like that can happen faster, there's a lot of variability here, but let's assume that every single round took 3 minutes, including losses, and that it would take an hour and 25-ish minutes per day. Completely unrealistic to do, but also completely realistic to do. The reason I say that it's completely unrealistic to some degree is because if you miss a day, you have to make up for it in the later days, where you either play for an extra hour, 25 minutes the next day, which can be really stressful, or you basically add in 30 seconds to a minute to every other day, but that's kind of just weird to do, and would be just slowly building up in the background for every day you miss. It's not impossible. It's just unrealistic for most to do who have school, who have work, who get stress occasionally here and there and just don't want to deal with it, or potentially have events that happen that just forces them off the computer, which is fair enough. People should have lives outside of video games. But still, however, what about something like the win streak leaderboard, where losses don't really occur and you have to win, that much? Assuming that you would start right now and never lose a round, which is completely, unrealistic once more. In this case, taking 3 minutes per round is way more believable because of the factor that you would want to play carefully and not rush every single person down. On top of that, you're not losing any rounds, and that means that you're not going to fall off on your own because, well, if you fell off on your own, you'd lose a round. So, with that in mind, the number 10 person currently has 140 wins. In order to achieve that, theoretically speaking, you could achieve that within a day by spending 7 hours, which, while that's unrealistic to do, because who wants to play Skywars for 7 hours straight, it also goes to show that it's really not the worst thing in the world, but bearing in mind you have to win 140 times in a row, which is really, really painful because you would have to lobby hop constantly, you would have to avoid hackers, avoid good players, and it kind of ruins the fun when you go for these leaderboards very quickly if you don't accidentally achieve them, which is extremely unlikely. And then for things like games played or, kills, games played could possibly be cheesed because, theoretically speaking, you don't actually have to play the game. You could potentially, anyways, I don't know if they have anything stopping this from happening, join into a round, jump off the map, die, and all of a sudden, you're still progressing through the leaderboards, and it would only take 25 seconds per round, assuming you joined in right as it filled up and takes 15 seconds to load in, whatever. That's significantly faster than 3 minutes per round, and not even that much more in terms of games played than games win. Yeah, it's several thousands more, don't get me wrong, but again, it's not that crazy of a difference either when you're doing it significantly faster. And kills is kind of difficult to calculate because sometimes you get 8 kills in a round, sometimes you get 4, maybe you consistently get 5 in a round depending on how you play or how fast you are. Sometimes you might get 2 in a round depending on how quick you play or how fast to fighting and how careful you play and everything else. So calculating those two is really difficult, and also those ones will change over time, and my calculations will be wrong by tomorrow, and wins, well, those change too, and my calculations will be wrong by probably 2 days from now. It's kind of difficult to say. But regardless, as of right now, it would take roughly 500 hours to get onto the wins leaderboard. And if you wanted the number 1 spot, it would take probably, I think it was 1,000 hours or something insane. If not, closer to 1,500, because they actually have triple the wins of number 10. But regardless, this was just a short video of me nerding out. Hopefully this was enjoyable to watch, and yeah, I will see you all for the next one. Good day.